So technically I have, let's adjust the camera here. Technically I have 3 pieces of fabric here, but because 2 of them are glued together, it actually just feels like 2 pieces of fabric. I have my walking foot installed. My threads are going everywhere. There we go. Get those over to the right side. Line up my fabric, my 2 pieces of fabric, and hit the road. I adjust my stitch length. Every time I turn on the machine, my stitch length needs to be adjusted. So that's just my machine. It's a digital. I am leaving the fabric on the first line to the right of my walking foot. I'm not being too careful about getting the fabric perfectly lined up. I'm just not really worried about it. Let's go backwards a little. When you make a sharp turn, put your needle into the fabric, lift the foot, turn the fabric, and keep on going. Yeehaw! So easy. Basting spray for the win. I started this whole project at about 11:40 tonight. I'm curious to know if this basting spray is making it faster for me. I don't feel a whole lot faster, but it's because I'm talking too much. Oh, I ran out of bobbin thread a little while ago. It's right here. So I've got to go back. Give me a moment. Much better. I thought I was going to run out of bobbin thread on that last diaper yesterday, and I can't believe how close I actually came. Alright, so I overlapped just a little bit with the last thread. That's pretty much equivalent to back stitching, just overlapping. The stitches won't come out that way. Put your foot down. If you don't have a walking foot, you probably still need to pin these together, even though you used the basting spray, because the basting spray doesn't apply to this top layer of PUL, because we're going to turn it, so we can't spray it down. So you'll probably still want to pin if you don't have a walking foot. Tight curves is just weird, so I went ahead and lifted the foot and lowered it a couple times during that turn. Let's mark for our elastics. Let's mark the elastic on the side with the big hole. Lay our pattern on. We're going to line it up top to bottom and scoot it to the left. Actually, my marks aren't on that side of the pattern, so we're going to scoot it to the right. Line it up top to bottom, scoot it to the right, make a mark at each of your marks. My pattern only has marks on one side. Line it up top to bottom, scoot it to the left. Then for this, we will line it up side to side. Make a mark. We'll line it up side to side so they're pretty even. Make a mark. Now we have 6 marks for each ends of our 3 pieces of elastic. I'm going to transfer those marks to the inside, basically to the outside of the diaper. I just put my fingernail on the fabric where the mark is, and I just sort of feel for it on the other side of the fabric. And then literally just drawing where my fingernail is. Close is good enough. This is a solid diaper. It doesn't have lines on it or anything, so we don't have to be perfectly straight. Alright, the next step is to cut the corners. Let's cut everywhere the fabric is making an outside turn. This is just so that when you turn it, you don't have a whole bunch of fabric crammed into the corner. Stay about 1/8 of an inch away from the stitching. If you get too close, you will know it, because your pointy object that you use to make the short corners sharp will go through the fabric. Will undo your stitching. You don't want that. Anytime there's a curve, an outside curve, cut the corner. An example of an inside curve is down the leg holes, down the legs. So this is an inside curve right here. Basically what that means is that this fabric on the outside, there's less of it, and it'll end up on this side where there's more room, so we don't need to make any cuts there. Alright, that is done. Now let's turn it. This is just like turning a pillowcase right side out, or a sock. You just stick your hands in there and reverse it. If you've done laundry at all, then this part is easy. That side and this side. I can't decide if I'm going to top stitch this one or not. It's going to look like a tuxedo when I'm done because it's black and white. I think that's very cool. Alright, I'm going to grab the screwdriver from my pliers, my snap pliers. Scratch that, I can't seem to find it. Let's use the bodkin. I have 2 different kinds of bodkins. These actually just came in the mail today. This one here, make sure you can see. This one here looks like a pair of tweezers. It's a pair of tweezers with a ring on it. And the whole point is that you grip whatever it is you're trying to thread through the casing. You smash your bodkin down on it, grip it like a pair of tweezers, and then you slide that ring up towards it so that it holds it closed. And so now you can pull this. It's got little teeth on it, so it'll pull against that. We use that instead of a safety pin because it's nice and long and it's pointy. This bodkin the different kind, it's actually for threading uh, really thin things. So some things like um, really narrow ribbon, it's not really practical to put a safety pin through it or grab it with a bodkin. So what you'll do is you'll loop it through this, just think of it as a really big needle. You'll stick it through that hole and make some excess, and then you'll just hook it like a needle. So I'm actually going to use this as a pointy object. I don't own any chopsticks or anything, so screwdrivers and bodkins are pretty much all I have for pointy objects. You could use a pencil, I suppose. That would have been a good idea. Pencil or an ink pen. Anything that you can shove up into the corner to make the corners sharp. I'm not a big fan of making diapers with the rounded tabs. And the only reason for that is I don't really sew particularly straight. And I feel like it looks better if this tab is square, because I don't have to worry about making that turn uniformly. Does that make sense? Alright, now let's... yeah, I'm at the right spot. Let's make our elastic casings. I'm going to start a new video though.